Scene one after take one.
Welcome to our 4-part video series. This is Oscar from Fancy Lizard Studio. In this video series, we're going to be showing you some tips and tricks for making your own music at home on your computer. Here in part 1, we're going to be showing you how to use a program called Famitracker. Famitracker is free software that you can use for making 8-bit NES style sounds and music. So the first part of this is making a song in the 8-bit style, a full-fledged song. And in the other parts, in the other videos, we're going to be showing you how to add on to it and make it sound even better. Alright, so you ready to start, people? Let's get started! Okay, to start things off, in Famitracker, when you open it up, you're going to notice that it's completely blank, of course. It's a new file. So the first thing we're going to have to do is import instruments. Now in Famitracker, you have the ability to create your own 8-bit instruments, but to save time, we're going to import instruments from other Famitracker files that have been previously created. When you download Famitracker, it comes with a demo folder full of demo songs that you can view, so you can see how people made things and you can check it out. So you have a whole list of songs, and Famitracker gives you the ability to pick and choose the instruments that were used in those project files and export them, and then re-import them into a new file. So that's what we're going to do right now. First things first, we're going to open one of the demo songs. In the window at the top right, you see all your instruments. We've got here in this file plain flavor, major flavor, sus flavor, inverted flavor, hi-hat flavor, and snare flavor. And to listen to what these instruments sound like, all you have to do is play the keys on your keyboard. When you find an instrument that you like, all you gotta do is you gotta right-click it and go to where it says Save to File. And save your instrument. Once you have an assortment of instruments that you like, open up a new Famitracker file and get ready to import all the instruments that you have exported. Back in that upper right window, there is an icon with a blank paper and a little arrow over it. It says Load Instrument. Click it, and now load your instruments. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start making music. But to make the music, I recommend just having fun and playing around with the instruments until something sticks in your head. Personally, sometimes when I make music, I like to start with the beat. The beat because, one, it helps me stay in tempo with the whole song, and also if you make the beat first, I find that it's easier to have a loopable song. So if you're making this If you're making a song for a video game that you're trying to make, and you want the song to loop over and over again, having that beat really helps. So what I'm going to start with the beat. And I wanted to explain to you really quick. If you notice here in the bottom, this big window on Famitracker, it says Pulse 1, Pulse 2, Triangle, Noise, and DPCM. These are the different sound channels. Pulse 1 and 2 make are like the lead instruments, kind of. So let me click on a plain chicken. When you have plain chicken selected, that instrument, any instrument, and you play in Pulse 1 and 2, it has this kind of sound. Like the lead instrument kind of sound. When you go to Triangle, it's kind of like a bass. And when you go to Noise is like the percussion. And if you try DPCM, you're not going to get anything. And that's because DPCM is a special thing. If I'm not mistaken, you can record your own little sound. Like, say you can record yourself going, ah, like that, making the ah sound. And make that sound that you recorded an 8-bit sound that you can play in DPCM. See what I'm saying? So you can record yourself clapping, and you can use that as an instrument, your claps. It'll come out sounding 8-bit. We're not going to mess with that in this video series, but if you'd like to explore with that, go ahead. We're just going to use the other 4 to make this song. So I like to start with the noise, the percussion. That really helps. So I'm gonna see what I'm gonna make a song here. Let's see what comes out. Once you have a beat that's starting to stick to you, and you want to record what you're playing, you can press the space bar to toggle on and off the edit mode. When that line is red, it means when you press a button, every time you press a button on your keyboard, it records what you pressed. Now, before I get any further on this, I just want to explain real quickly. The way you make music with Famitracker is pretty much the same way you make music on a piano. You see the keyboard keys on your keyboard correspond to piano keys on a piano. The bottom row, Z through the period, are white keys on the keyboard. They're like the left-hand side. And there's some keys on above that in the row from A to the L key, acting as the black keys that would go on the left side of the keyboard. So we got S, D, and then G, H, and J, and then L. It stops at L because it continues on above. So on the keys Q through the right bracket are more white piano keys. The comma and the Q are the same note, and so is the period and the W. But from Q to the right bracket on your keyboard are also white piano keys, and above this row where the numbers are on your keyboard are more black keys corresponding to these keys. So we got, let's see, 2 and L I think are the same. And then 2, 3, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 0. Those are the black keys on the top. So the bottom row has white piano keys and black keys that are on the left side, and the top rows, the numbers, and Q through the right bracket have piano keys that are would be on the right side. So it's like a little piano keyboard. That's how you make music. So every time you press the space bar and the blue line turns red, meaning it's on record mode, edit mode, you press a key and it'll record everything you press. When you press the enter key, it's playing the frame window. And if you notice above where it says song settings, we got speed. Don't worry about speed, but keep in mind the tempo here is 150. The rows are 64, which means in the frame window here, you see how it says 00, 01, 02, 03? Those are the rows. And it goes to 64. This 3F, it means 64. That's the 64th row. It's one frame, which means it's just one frame. If I were to add a second frame, here you go, a second frame with 64 rows. See what I'm saying? But we'll get more into that later. Right now, we're just going to worry about making our song. So let's get to that. If you press the delete key, to delete stuff, and keep in mind that when you press when you're recording things, if you just like say here's the beat I kind of want to make. I can't just do this. This is what it sounds like. Which actually sounds pretty good if you want to go a really fast song, but I'm not going to make it that fast. So you gotta time it out. So you gotta kind of play with it. Use the backspace to delete, or the delete key. The delete key is a little more tedious. Excuse me. One thing that helps me is I recorded the first note in the beat, and then I press the enter key to help me. Watch, see? Okay, I'll put a delete key here. Whoops, I mean a backspace here. See? That way it helps me keep in time to what I have in my head. Anyway. This is a little too soon. I think this one needs... You could also copy and paste the notes that you have recorded if you want to repeat them in the frame window. I ran out of room, so I gotta increase the rows so that the whole thing fits. So let me see here. I'll put 80. That should work. Okay, so I like where the beat's going, and I've got an idea for what I want to do with the triangle. So what I want to do is that I want to leave it so that the first frame plays out through with only the noise channel on. So I'm going to make a new frame. So here we go. Frame 2. Now, you see something? In frame, right here in the top left little window, there's a little square here. It has 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so this represents the frames and the rows. The yellow numbers represent the frame. 0, 0 is frame 1. 0, 1 is frame 2, which I just made. The green numbers represent the rows of the channels. The first one, 0, 0, pulse 1, 0, 0, it's pulse 2. And you notice that when I made the new frame, frame 2, the beat is repeated. I didn't have to make it up again or copy and paste or anything. It's already there. That's because in the window here you see, you see that the second to last 0 zeros is the same. What I'm saying is that, what it's technically saying is that in frame 0, 1, in the noise channel, play row 0, 0. So when I get to frame 1, it's loading what I recorded in frame 0, 0. I'm getting all this, the technical stuff jumbled up. What I'm saying is that what I made in the first frame is repeated because the ID for the first for the row of noise in the first frame is being called again in the new frame that I made. See? So if I were to change this to 0, 1, see this plus sign here? It's gone because 0, 1, row 0, 1 for the channel of noise has nothing because I haven't put anything in it yet. But 0, 0 has something. It has the beat because I just made it. You see what I'm saying? So that's the good thing here. In frame 0, 1, the beat's repeated and I don't have to go back again to redo it. I can just focus on the one I'm trying to do now. So now we're going to work on the triangle. So let's start again here. We've run into a problem. If you notice that with the instrument I used for the noise, whenever I made a sound, the sound ended. But now that I'm using a new instrument called bass for triangle, when I play it, it doesn't stop. It keeps going. It's a really easy fix. If you're having that problem, you're going to have a solution right now. So, with bass selected here in the top right corner, we're going to go to this button here that's next to the name. It's called Edit Instrument. Here lies the problem. You have these effects that make up the instrument, right? The problem here is in volume. 8765. This makes the instrument. When I play a key, you see the green thing going here? It's playing this. If I put a 0 here and hit enter, this will make it stop. Without the 0 tells the instrument that it has to stop. The volume gets to 0, the instrument can't be heard because it stops. It's at 0. I hope that makes sense. It's kind of confusing, but Without the 0, it keeps going because it stops at 5 and the volume still stays at 5. So when it plays, a note with this instrument plays in Famitracker, it doesn't stop until it hits the next note because it's stuck on 5. But if we put a 0, it hits, when Famitracker reaches the note, it plays it and it hits 0 and stops. And we don't have to worry about this thing where it just sounds weird. So there we go, we have that. One of the things I wanted to mention is the use of effects in Famitracker. There is a list of effects you can find online to help you with your music. What you do, you see, is when you're working on your song and you want to add an effect, like right here, you see these spaces in between the instrument name. Like here, and when you record a note, it records the note, G#3, the name of the instrument, and then a space after that, and then you can type in the effect. So I've got effect number 4, which is vibrato effect, and then I have a 9, so the speed is 9, and the depth is 3, so I get this. Go ahead and play around with those effects and see what turns up. Let's get back to work. Oh yeah, and always remember to save your work because you never know. Sometimes things happen and you'll regret it. So Control S. Okay, after much tinkering, I think I've got the finished song. So here's what it sounds like, okay? And there you have it. So now that the thing's done, I better, first of all, Control S, save that work. Now it's time to export the song, so I'm going to export it. File, not text, create wave. I'm going to just have it play once. And I'm going to have it with all the channels selected so the whole thing comes out. So begin. Where do I put it? Okay, we're going to put it, just call it just right here. Save it. It's going. It's done. But now I'm also going to export it in little pieces so that I can mess with it later. So we're going to create another wave. We're going to take off everything except for pulse 1. And begin. Buckles. Pulse 1. Enter. Done. Create another wave. We're gonna everything but the noise. Everything but the noise. Begin. Buckles. Noise. Done. Okay, another one. Create wave. Now this time everything but the triangle. Begin. Triangle. One more. everything except for noise and triangle. Okay, we're done. So now we've made a song in Famitracker 8-bit. If you notice, I did not use Pulse 2. Pulse 2, well, when I use it, I like to make harmonies and things like that. But instead of doing that with Famitracker, we're going to use other software. So stay tuned for part 2, where we're going to use a program called FL Studio 12 to add on to the song we have and make it better. Till next time, stay fancy.